Hi dancers, welcome back to my channel. I'm Claudia Dean and today I brought the beautiful Maya on and we're going to be doing a pre-pointe exercise tutorial. So make sure you subscribe before you start watching this video and give it a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Basically, I'm going to be including my top 8 exercises and these are the exercises I would recommend if you're thinking about going on to pointe. Also, next week, we're going to be releasing a video with Louise from Pondera, who's a physiotherapist, and we'll be asking all the right questions as well prior to going on pointe. So in these next 2 episodes, you're going to be finding out a lot about pre-pointe exercises and questions, which is great. Now in this video, you'll see as well, May is very experienced and of course she's already on pointe, which has been on pointe for about 5 years. And these exercises I'm recommending, they're for dancers that basically aren't on pointe yet. And just a little guide of exercises you can do before getting your pointe shoes. So May is going to be a really good example and you can watch her and see basically how these exercises should be executed correctly. So let's get straight into it. Exercise number 1 is just face this direction, so you're straight on fast to the front and basically both feet are parallel. And we're going to work on balancing on one leg with our eyes closed because this is a very common exercise that a physio would check prior to getting pointe shoes. You should be able to hold this for about 30 seconds. No pressure, but try and just do it as best as you can. So let's start off by lifting up our right foot, completely parallel again. Good. Really make sure that right in these deep glute muscles, you know how I always mention about the pinprick? So pinprick like that, you're really supporting the glute area there. That's it. Arms are in a secure first. That's it. And we're going to close our eyes and see how long you can balance for. Whoa, that was very good. Very, very good. Try the other leg now. That's all right. And dancers, you probably will find you will have one leg stronger than the other. So in a ballet class, Maya, would you normally find which leg would be stronger to stand on, your right or your left leg, like in a balance? Left. So that's quite interesting because your right leg was then more secure in these balances with your eyes closed. Yeah, so it's a good little test, okay? And that's something as well, once again, aim for 30 seconds, dancers. Exercise number 2. Now dancers, I find this one is a great exercise to increase your Demi pointe mobility, which is something that's very important as well before you are going on to pointe, to articulate through your foot as you're coming down off pointe. So Maya, we're going to work on this little exercise. If you can, hold on to the bench top behind you. That's it. And if you, also dancers that are watching, if you do have something where you can hold on, that's ideal. Now, what you're going to do, Maya, is you're going to put your feet as close as possible to the wall. That's it, on Demi pointe. Good. Now, all you're going to try and simply do is straighten your knees, keeping your foot there. Whoa! Yeah, as you can see, look, Mayas are quite flexible. So, as I said, when you're starting out with this exercise, it may not look like that to begin with, but definitely something to aim towards. And the more you can straighten your knees, obviously the better, because that means that you're really getting the flexibility through that part of the foot. Just try it once more from scratch again, Maya. So you go up against the wall, good, as close as you can, and then we slowly straighten our knees. There we go.
Exercise number 3.
Now dancers, this one's great for metatarsal strength. I would actually also recommend this to dancers that are already on pointe. So someone like Maya, this is perfect to really strengthen up your feet. But if you aren't on pointe yet, just really watch how far you go with this. So I'll show you 2 ways of doing it, but basically I'm going to obviously show the more advanced way first, and then I can sort of go from there and modify it a little bit. So Maya, you're going to face the bar for me and just stand in a neat first position and make sure your pinky toes are flat on the floor so there's no rolling. That's good. Now all you're simply going to do for me is you're going to rise up, Maya, so go through the Demi pointe and quite slowly as well. Then you're going to try and rise up through all 5 toes, right up on the tippy toes of your feet. So rise there. That's it. So you can see, dancers, how also that actually is a little bit shaky at the moment, which is absolutely fine, but it just shows that even Maya, when she's been on point for years and years, there's still strengthening things we can do to make all of that a lot better. So let's rise back up again. Good, all the way up. That's it. And then going down. This is probably a good one you can practice. Go back up again and lifting up. Good girl. And then lowering back down. Okay, and another thing as well, dancers, if you're wanting to modify it a little bit to make it a little bit easier, all you simply can do is perhaps rising up onto Demi point, so rising up and maybe only reaching about, now just go up there. That's all you need to do. And then until you can get to that full height, then I would keep doing this, because you'll find, like, see how Maya there, she's not shaking at all. So obviously that's not too much of a challenge for her, but as soon as she goes up slightly higher, that's where it shakes a little bit more, which means it needs a little bit more strength. So that's another really good exercise for you all to get the right ankle and metatarsal strength prior to point. And for that exercise, dancers, I'd recommend just 10 on both feet. Now, exercise number 4. So this next exercise, dancers, you're going to require a Thera-band. This is the block Thera-band here. You probably see it in a lot of my videos. But basically, I've tied it in a knot. As you can see, it's only about that big, so it's quite tiny. And the reason behind this is we're actually going to put both of Maya's legs into this little ring here. So it has to be very tight around your legs. So let's try and do that first. So you're going to put one foot straight in. That's it. That's good. And then the other foot straight in. Good. And now we're going to pull it up, right up to about here. So just above your knees, dancers. Let me just check that that side's okay. Yeah. Now, all I want you to do, May, is basically rise up quite slowly, just onto Demi point in first, and you'll feel a big resistance with the Thera-band. Also, dancers, obviously the higher you lift this up, the more challenging it's going to be, because our legs obviously get bigger as they... because our legs obviously get bigger the further up we go. So, just do a rise onto Demi point for me. Good, that's it. And you feel your glutes working. Perfect, and lower back down. Good, and again, rise up. Good, glutes. Good, that's it. So this directly targets your glute muscles here and your deep glute muscles, and Maya can probably feel that. And it also targets your ankles, because obviously having something that's resistant around your legs is going to make it harder to rise up. So what I'd recommend here, Maya, is doing about 25 turned out in first position, and then let's extend that leg to second. So second's going to be even harder, and I'd recommend probably between 20 and 25 in second. Go up. Good. That's it. And then lower back down. Good. And again, up. Yeah, I can really see all the muscles working. Fabulous. And then lower back down. Fabulous. Exercise number 5. So dancers, the next 2 exercises are calf rises. I'm sure everyone knows how to do a calf rise, but at the same time, there are a few different techniques that you need to remember before you try and execute calf rises correctly, because I see a lot of dancers come in and I ask them, you know, how many calf rises can you do? And they might tell me I can do 25, but when I watch the 25, there's usually a lot of faults in those 25 calf rises. So I'm going to go through exactly what you need to remember for parallel calf rises. Also, just a little pointer too, you must be able to do between 25 and 30 calf rises prior to going on point. So that's another interesting fact for you to know. So if you are aiming to go on to point, that's something you can slowly work towards. So Maya, if you can face the bar for me and lift up your right leg parallel, that's it, and make sure your supporting leg is completely parallel also. Now, the first thing I would say is make sure that, again, your pinky toe is on the floor when you're standing on that left leg. That's it. Then just traveling up, because my corrections, I like to start from the bottom and work our way up. The next thing is your center of your knee should line up with your third toe. So what you're doing there looks great. Now, this VMO, so everyone should know that your VMO is just above the knee. That should be completely engaged and locked. So if you can relax your knee for me, Maya. Yep, now lock it. So everyone can see the difference there. Now the next thing here, this part of your back there, I want you to imagine there's like a potato sack hanging from there. That's it. So it's heavy through here, but then you're really lifted up through here. That's exactly right. Now, when you go to rise, Maya, I want you to make sure that nothing changes between the VMO and the alignment of where that knee and foot is. And you're going to trigger the calf rise with the gluteus maximus. So let's go, and up and lower. That's it. And timing-wise, dancers, I'll sort of just count you in a little bit so you know how fast you should be going as well, because it can't be too quick. So let's go, and rise up and down, and rise up and down, and 3 and down, and 4 and down, and 5 and down. So you can sort of see there how quick you should be going. So I would be advising that Maya's definitely got to be achieving 30 by her age and based on how many years she's been on point also. Then you'd swap feet. That's it. Making sure that's completely parallel. Good. And we do exactly the same on the other leg. So let's try a few on this leg. Up and down, and go up and down. Good. And up and down. Good. And trigger it with the glute. Good. Down and up and down. Fabulous. Now, exercise number 6, dancers. We're going to move on to this straight away while we're at the bar. I really recommend doing calf rises with a bent knee. You've probably seen this on a few of my videos. I think I've included it on my pre-performance warm-up because it's a great one to basically trigger your lower calf muscle through here. The calf rises that I have just showed you there, basically they trigger the upper calf, which is the most common area we use. The lower calf muscle though, it's actually quite hard to trigger, and the calf rises on a bent knee really activate that. So this is another really good strengthener, especially if you find that your calf muscle, for some people, it's quite top heavy, and then the lower part right before the ankle is quite slender. What we've got to try and do is remember that if it really tapers in, it means that you obviously need a bit of activation there in the lower calf. So Maya, all you've got to do is stand exactly how we were just standing for those previous calf rises. Now the only change is you're going to bend your knee. Perfect. Now when you rise up for this, so let's rise up. You're not going to go fully over, just go fully over. We don't want that because that's a little bit too far. We want to stay back a little bit because actually, maybe a little bit further now, up. Yeah, about there. Because you can probably see here that Maya's ankle is shaking a little bit there, but if we go fully over, it kind of just locks into a position which isn't going to strengthen it. So just slow back down again. That's it, and let's rise back up. So you're going to stay on that bent knee and up, yes, down and up, down and up, down. So you can see that working through here, down and up, down. Perfect. And I'd recommend between 25 and 30 of those too on both legs. Exercise number 7. Okay, dancers, this one you're going to require that same Thera-band that you used for the calf rises turned out with the Thera-band around your legs. So now we're going to use that exact same loop actually, because it's great if it's quite small, once again, just about that wide. And you're going to sit down for me, Maya, and basically I want you to wrap both of your feet and put your feet inside this loop, but I want you to wrap them around the Thera-band. So we go in, good, in, okay, and you're going to straighten those legs out in front of you, good, and we're just going to separate, that's it, and we're just going to separate your legs about there. That's it, okay, perfect. So you can parallel, and what Maya's doing here is she's creating about, a 15 centimeter gap between the legs, which will obviously create resistance for you, doesn't it? So can you relax your ankles to where they'd want to go right now? Sickle. So obviously we don't want to sickle. So this one is great to strengthen up your ankles. And basically what I want you to do here, Maya, if you get them into a straight line, so from knee, center of the knee, all the way down to the center of the foot, boom, there we go. Okay, now all you're going to try and do, you're going to do both feet together. So you're going to trigger these ones together. I want you to try and use this whole outside muscle up here and open out the feet. Good. And then come back to neutral. And again, open and come back to neutral so you can feel up here. And obviously, dancers, if you want to make it a little bit more advanced, you could actually separate the feet a little bit more and that will make it more challenging. Good. And go again. And then come back to neutral. That's it. And I'd recommend about 10 of these. So this is going to trigger all up the side, all through the ankle, and it's a great one before point. Now dancers, we're on to the last exercise, and this is our favorite one of all. So you're going to need a tennis ball or a handball, and you're also going to need that same Thera-band that we were using. So, now mate, we've tied the Thera-band around the bar, as you can see, and now what I'm going to get Maya to do is stick her inside foot in the Thera-band. Okay, and now you're gonna put 2 feet parallel, that's it, and you're gonna stand a little bit further away from the bar because you're quite strong. And we're gonna grab the tennis ball and we're just gonna place it right underneath the ankle bone there, and obviously you're holding onto it and squeezing a little there, I'm probably guessing, Maya, yep. Now, when you rise up, Maya, you're going to find that the Thera-band, because of the resistance, is going to pull you towards the bar, and that obviously means your ankle's sickling, the one that's in the Thera-band. So obviously holding onto the tennis ball, you're trying to avoid the tennis ball falling out between the ankles, and you're also trying to avoid the sickle. So we're definitely going to find out if you are sickling because you'll let go of that tennis ball. So just try rising up for me. Rise up. Good. Perfect. And then lower down. And again, rise up. Good. And then lower down. So it is as simple as that. Now I'd recommend, if you're more of a beginner, just about 10 of these, and you can swap feet because it's important that you try it on both sides. But for Maya's level, she's full time and she's been on Pointe for about 5 years. I'd probably recommend for Maya between 15 and 20. So just rise up again, Maya. Go rise up and then lower down. And rise up and lower down. Perfect. Now we hope you enjoyed our series of exercises. I'd highly recommend all of these if you're wanting to go on Pointe, and you can keep practicing them for months beforehand before you do your Pointe assessment. So we will see you in our next video, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Bye dancers!